Hi, we're here in Mayfair and we're catching up with our favourite ex-dragon. It's James Caan, who's going to speak to us about what the exciting things that he's been doing lately. So thank you very much, James.
Absolute pleasure. I like the word excitement.
Yes, well, I do think these things are exciting. Now tell us about your app, which we've been hearing so much about.
I recently, as you probably know, launched my app called James Caan's Business Secrets. And that was really kind of encouraged by, some of the traffic I get on my website. And literally every day, we average between 1,000 and 1,500 emails every day, with so many people wanting to know, how do I start a business? How do I run a business? I've got an existing business. How do I attract people? How do I internationalize? I need to raise capital. So every day, there are lots of people out there who I think are just desperate to get some good advice. And rather than trying to answer everybody's kind of emails, I just thought maybe there was a better way. And with technology the way that it is today, I thought the app would be such an appropriate way of sharing some of those ideas. And when I built the app, I was kind of thinking maybe there'd be at least 1,000 or 5,000 people, who may want to download it. And literally in the first week of its launch, it became the #1 best download app on iTunes, which I thought was staggering. And, within 3 weeks, we've had just over 80,000 people,
wow,
which I think is just remarkable. And the feedback we've had on, you've got sort of comments on iTunes that say, what did you think of it? And I think so many people have found it so valuable that for me, it's been one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had. It's nice when people appreciate what you do.
One of the best things for a startup audience who perhaps don't have that money to go and get their own mentor or business coach.
It's free. Oh my
That's
God.
It.
James Caan made no money from this deal.
Wow. Why?
Because it's not about making money. Sometimes I think if you can share your own experiences of something that's helped you do really well, and as a result of that, other people, become successful, they make a lot of money. For me, nothing could be more rewarding. So when I was building the app, lots of people were saying, God, there's so much content, how much will you charge for it? And, even if I charge £3, which is what kind of, I think Apple said it should be like $2.99, I probably would have made £250,000 in 3 weeks. But actually, I feel even better when I read some of that feedback that it was worth every penny of doing the app. And I just hope that the response and the demand continues as it's been. And the other thing that's been staggering is people from all over the world. It was doing really well in Jordan, in India, in China, in Australia, in countries I don't even know anybody. So it's been an amazing experience.
Excellent. And what else is happening in your world at the moment, James?
I'm just in the process of writing a book. I'm writing a book called Start Your Own Business in 7 Days.
Right.
This is really taking all the experience that I learned from Dragon's Den. In Dragon's Den, I must have seen 1,000 pictures. And what I've basically done is taken all that kind of experience of what people should and shouldn't do and how people have made mistakes in the past and really putting that into a book. And I've already had 4 publishers, shown enormous interest in publishing the book. So that should come out in September.
Right.
I'm currently sort of back at work at Hamilton Bradshaw, where we've got 42 companies that we own. So my day job is quite busy, to say the least, just looking after all the investments. And this evening I'm off to the south of France. I'm spending the weekend in Portofino, just kind of cruising around in the Med, really.
Well, good. I'm glad you do get a bit of time to put your feet up occasionally.
I need to chillax.
You touched on Dragon's Den. I think the last time that we spoke to you for the magazine, you just stepped down from your position on the panel there. Thinking back to your time on the show, is there a particular entrepreneur who really stands out that you're perhaps still in contact with, that you're proud to have sort of helped on their way?
I think the chap who did a wrap strap, which is, the kind of piece of plastic that you can tie. It's a bit like the conventional kind of wrap strap concept. He's doing really well right now. He's getting some amazing orders. The guy who did Chockbox, which is the kind of electrical gadget.
Yeah.
You know, we're selling nearly 1 million units every probably 3 or 4 months. He's doing really well, and more importantly, we're still selling dog treadmills. So, you know, actually, I'm quite pleased with some of the investments we made.
Cool. You are saying that you're writing your next book.
I like being called an author now. I feel quite intelligent.
We'll put that on a little caption.
That's right.
there.
James Caan, the author, yes.
Your most recent book that's been published, Get the Job You Really Want. Our audience is lots of business people starting businesses, people growing businesses, who perhaps, you know, have found the job that they really want, and that's having their own business. But perhaps, have you got any advice that you could give us for people who are looking for the employees that they really want? What's your top tip?
That's a really good question. What I would suggest is if they download the app, there's a section on how to attract the best talent.
Oh, right.
The app has got all the secrets you need, and if I tell you all those secrets here, nobody will download the app. So I think download it now.
And it's video content, isn't it?
It's video content, it's audio content, it has a playlist. It talks about how do you attract the right people, how do you retain them, what do you pay them, how do you design remuneration, how do you incentivize them, how do you appraise them. It's got an entire section, because it's such an important question for an entrepreneur, because an entrepreneur is only as good as the people he has, and if you can't attract the right people, the business is always going to be that much harder. So I think clearly on that particular chapter in the app, you know, is currently, I would say, the second highest viewed section on the app.
Right.
The first one being, how do I raise capital?
With having been in business for so many years, I'm not saying that you're old.
Maybe it's the grey hair.
Distinguished, I'd say. I'm going to make you blush now.
Am I blushing? No.
Are you still learning things? What is the most recent thing that you've learned in business?
I think you can't stop learning, and if you look at the recent kind of impact that social media has on business, when I started a business, there was no Facebook, there was no internet, and when you just look at how, you know, essential those tools have become to the way we do business today, you know, so many SME businesses attract all their customers via the net using Google AdWords. So I suppose if you're not learning, if you're not following markets and trends, your business will go backwards. You know, so I think it's absolutely essential for every entrepreneur, you know, is to keep abreast of what's happening, whether it's about marketing, whether it's about social media, whether it's internationalizing your business, you know, the demand for your product and service overseas, you know, whether you have enough of your domestic market. There isn't a day that goes by that I would say that I don't learn something. I mean, just give you sort of today's bit of learning. I was in a meeting this morning with somebody, funny enough, from Google, who was telling me that if you look at the amount of traffic we generate today as a UK economy, the amount of goods and services that are sold online in England today amounts to just over 100 billion of revenue that the UK economy generates from e-commerce online. Right. If you pull that together and you created that as a sector, what is the value of that sector? That would represent 7% of UK GDP, which would make it the largest sector in the UK economy. Now that was very interesting learning from this morning.
And well remembered.
Clearly.
Just lastly, our viewers have just watched this video. They're getting another link up to be able to download your app, obviously. Is this the right time to start a business if they've been sort of pondering this for a while?
I mean, you know, it's a question I get asked a lot, and I strongly believe that now is as good time as any, because I think, you know, we're certainly experiencing some great opportunities right now. You know, I think there's never a right or wrong time. I think it really depends on you. If you happen to have an idea that you're passionate about, or an opportunity that really turns you on and you really feel committed to it, I don't think the market or the economy is a barrier of starting it. I think the barrier is always you. It's how you feel and how strongly you feel about the idea that you want to really develop, you know, or kind of start as a business. So I would say, do it now.
Well, thank you very much for being with us. James Caan, author.
Thank you.